Primal Kitchen is known for outrageously delicious sauces and condiments, and now their pure avocado oil can be a staple in your kitchen too. With its high smoke point, neutral flavor, and healthy fats, it's perfect for grilling, baking, sautéing, marinating, whatever you're cooking. Primal Kitchen Pure Avocado Oil gets the job done. Pure, quality tested, and trusted. Grab a bottle at Walmart stores nationwide or online at walmart.com.
Streaming is changing the way we watch live sports. And your internet connection can be the difference between catching the game-winning touchdown as it happens or hearing about it from your neighbor's cheers. That's why Comcast is building the network of the future. Using cutting-edge AI and edge computing technology, we're bringing fans closer to the action in stunning high definition with ultra-low latency. It's not just fast, it's game-changing. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/sports.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
At Capella University, we believe accessible education can make a difference. That's why we offer scholarship opportunities to all eligible students. Un futuro diferente está más cerca de lo que crees con Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Doogie.
Sam.
Arsenal are odds-on to win the Premier League, a sentence that will no doubt send shivers down fans' spines. But who looks a genuine challenger to that? Who are their actual title rivals? Let's make some big calls.
Arsenal are the favourites.
I think they're in a far stronger position than even last season because of Gyökeres, because of Madueke. That squad, Zubimendi's coming on and changing games. And then you've got Eze. You've got a very, very good squad.
Arsenal are the favourites. I just don't think they'll do it.
Does that mean Chelsea could be thrown into the mix as well then?
Oh, there's no way. No way that I'm including Chelsea.
You're not having Chelsea?
No matter how many games we're going to win, we are not ready to compete for the title.
I think you're beyond that. I think stranger things have happened of you having a go at the Premier League title race this season.
Maybe Man City can challenge.
Show them that we are able to be there with them all this season. And today, I think we prove it.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome to Season 2, Episode 13.
Correct.
Of The Truth. Unlucky for some, but not for me, your host, Sam Tighe, and not for you, Doogie Critchley.
It's not. It's actually, weirdly, my mum's side of the family's lucky number. So I'm looking forward to today's episode.
I, of course, knew that.
Yeah.
Hence the introduction. Also with us is our producer, an ominous presence. His black touch can be felt seeping through the rip between worlds. It's the Dark One himself, Jack Collins.
Hello, Sam.
I got a very nervous smile just before I started that.
I was like, where's he going to go with this week?
My favourite bit of the podcast. I sort of zone out after this bit.
Yeah, that's it. You've done your work now. You can relax. Let me and Doogie handle the rest of this.
Absolutely. Are you okay?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. I'm sort of still recovering from being in the cottage.
Just say, tell me you went to the cottage.
I was at the cottage.
Tell me you went to Fulham 4, Man City 5.
I didn't leave.
Good.
Although I did think about it when it went 3-0 just before half time, and Mel Smith Rowe dragged me just when I thought I was out, dragged me back in, and then I went back upstairs. I missed the fourth goal because I was having a pint at half time, and then they scored the fifth, and it was like, ooh, could go. It was a big exodus at that point.
We don't blame anyone there. It's Tuesday night. It's cold. Go home if you want to.
Reasonable. But Alex Iwobi scored quite quickly, and that goal was celebrated because City had just been doing the Poznan. Like it was celebrated like a bit too much, and like slightly ironically, and then suddenly it was like 3, and then you're like, oh, hang on. Oh, what?
We're on here.
Yeah. And it really it went from like farce to, oh no, we seriously might get something out of this game, which felt ridiculous, right? To suggest a 5-1 down. So it was an experience. It was a lot of fun, and it's not often you walk out of a game feeling euphoric after losing, but that very much was the case for Fulham yesterday.
Yeah. So we'll dig into the nature of that City performance a bit later, I think. But just as the top line here, Fulham 4, Man City 5 was the 26th match in Premier League history to end with 9 goals scored. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6 games in the history of the Premier League have seen more goals So that list starts with West Brom 5, Man United 5, goes all the way up to Portsmouth 7, Reading 4, one we all remember very fondly, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, good. Good. I remember checking my fantasy team after that game.
Did you have fantasy back then?
Yeah.
Really?
And I was dismayed to find out that of all the goal scorers and all the possible points on offer, I had John Utaka, who wasn't great as a fantasy option anyway, but he only had a measly assist and 5 points, whereas some of the guys on that team, Benjani et al., were in the double figures. So my prevailing memory of that game was fantasy disappointment, which goes some other way to explaining why maybe I don't play anymore.
Yeah, because you're an early adopter of the game. You wasted your best years with John Utaka.
I really did. Right, look, we're recording this Wednesday night, basically 2 hours before the set of Premier League games kicks off this evening, which includes Arsenal versus Brentford. It includes Brighton versus Aston Villa. It includes Liverpool versus Sunderland. It makes it a bit of an awkward timing on this one because we're going to talk about the title, the fact that Arsenal were favourites, and who is a genuine challenger to them. This podcast is going to look really stupid on Friday when people listen to it if Arsenal don't beat Brentford tonight.
It could do, but then I think this is the topics we're going to discuss and hopefully the themes we hit on and the takes we give, etc. They shouldn't be defined solely on the basis of one game. I think we've seen enough Premier League football so far this season to be able to make some informed, hopefully, opinions about the title race.
Hopefully. While that's true, it's still just going to look weird. Like, if Arsenal do lose to Brentford at home, and then you get a podcast landing in your feed saying, well, Arsenal are unequivocal favourites, and we're going to discuss whether anyone else has the chance. Like, it's just going to jar. So hopefully that really hasn't happened. And that's not me cheering for Arsenal. It's just cheering for the life of this content. Yeah, Jack, don't release it if they lose. Okay, you'll never. You don't hear this if it doesn't.
Yeah, there's been a mysterious absence of the truth this week.
Right. So let's very firmly establish something straight up, Doogie. Arsenal are top of the league. They have been the best team so far this season, and they are, according to the odds, according to me, according to you, the Premier League title favourites, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at how there has been a pickup from Chelsea in the last 3-4 weeks, I would say, in terms of performance level. I thought they were absolutely superb against Barcelona. I thought they were largely brilliant against Arsenal, even when they went down to 10 men at the weekend. We'll probably touch on the course of that game as well. But the most consistent side in terms of performances so far this season has definitely been Arsenal. They've won 9 of 13 games going into that Brentford game. They've only lost 1, which was away at Anfield. It was a really dull game, sort of lit up by that Szoboszlai free kick. But every other team in the league at the time of recording has lost at least 3. They've been top since the 4th of October. Only Man City have scored more than their 25 league goals. They've scored 12 from set pieces, which people are concerned about, but that's still 2 more than next best Chelsea in that department. Man City have barely scored any set pieces, but there have been more goals from open play in the last few weeks as well, which has been good to see. And this is built on their title charge so far, just an absolutely phenomenal defensive record. They've only conceded 7 goals in 13 games. That's the joint best record in Europe, along with Como and Roma, and they've got the best defence in Europe by expected goals against as well. And whilst their underlying numbers in terms of shots per game, etc., haven't taken a massive leap up, they were on 14.4 last year, they're on 14.4 this year. The gap between them and first place Man United, weirdly enough, in terms of shots per game, is considerably smaller than the gap between them and Liverpool last year. So while last year it felt like they were slightly undone by, yes, injuries and some bad discipline, etc., and maybe a lack of attacking flow, this year, it doesn't feel like that's going to have such an impact in a league that feels much more defined, Sam, by set pieces, aggression, sort of equality in different departments.
Yeah, I mean, the tactical landscape of the Premier League right now, you look at it and you look at the different traits that teams have and the overriding themes, and every single one of them, I just look at Arsenal, I think you embody that. It's set piece innovation, it's physicality, it's the ability to go man-to-man in midfield. It's flat out bullying certain teams, and Arsenal were the best in all of these areas, more or less. So, yeah, they're ticking all the boxes. The 7 goals conceded is incredible. Like, genuinely, that, once again, on the hook for an incredible defensive record. That's the backbone of this. And so we both agree. Jack, very quickly, do you also agree that Arsenal, clear favourites to the title here, clear best team so far?
Yeah, I think that there have been concerns that are thrown up by that Chelsea game, and look, there are mitigating circumstances in that they're missing, both of their first choice centre backs in that game, and
big
the
week
fact
as well
that,
for them.
Big week, but also I do think that there is an element at play, and it's something we discussed on the post box on Ranks, is that you do look at that and say, against a title challenger, you got an extra man for 60 minutes, and you're kind of a little bit played off the park. It's not great optically. I still think that Arsenal have the depth and squad quality, and a point actually isn't the end of the world at Stamford Bridge. They're not going to have I think they have City left away, but they've already done Anfield, they've done Stamford Bridge. You're looking at that and saying, okay, the back half of the season should be, on paper at the very least, a little bit easier away from home, but obviously they'll be competing on multiple fronts.
They've also done St James's Park.
Yeah.
And by the end of this weekend, they'll have done Villa Park.
Yeah. And so, I don't necessarily feel as confident in Arsenal as I did 2 weeks ago, but I still think that on the balance of everyone across the course of the season, remember that, and we'll talk about Chelsea, I'm sure, but Chelsea were in a title race, in inverted commas, in December last year. And look, it was one of those where, if you are, in catching... Really. They weren't really, no, I agree. But also, if you were in touching distance at that point of the season, it's impossible to say you're not in a title race, right?
Well, you watch me in about 20 minutes.
Well, no, but you look at someone if you could take this, expand it across Europe just for a second, Lens are top of Ligue 1. I don't think that Lens are going to win the league, right? I don't think the Villarreal are going to win the league in La Liga. But to say that they are not currently title challengers is a lie, because that's where they are in the table. So I think it's been a very interesting week for Arsenal. And I think if you'd said to them, you'll get 2 wins and a draw out of these 3 games against Tottenham, against Bayern Munich, and then against Chelsea, they would have probably taken that in any sort of order, really. Yeah. But it kind of does show that there are still some vulnerabilities within the squad. I think the performance as opposed to perhaps the result in terms of how it shaped up.
They'd have taken 2 wins and a draw. Ideally, they would have taken the draw against Bayern, I think, and converted the win against Chelsea. I can see 2 sides of this coin, Jack. I said it, didn't I, as you were talking? Big week for them, and it was. Very big week. So contextually speaking, that's a lot of physical energy, a lot of emotional energy, a lot to eke out of 8 days of football. However, apply the context, you did get 60 minutes against Chelsea with 10 men, and that changes things. And I was a little bit disappointed in what Arsenal put up there. It was about 0.6, 0.7 XG in the second half. Come on, you want more. But that sort of brings us nicely onto basically our first challenger here, because ultimately the question we're asking here is anybody else genuinely able to last the distance with them? Is anybody else really worthy of the title challenger over the course of 38 games? Because while there may be some flaws in Arsenal, we have to figure out if there are even bigger flaws, workable flaws in their opponents. So I'm going to use the league table as my guide, as it is on Wednesday evening before kick-off on the other games. Manchester City are the first team we'll talk about. Let's go straight back to Jack. Right, 9 goals. Silly stuff, wasn't it, at Craven Cottage?
Madness.
And I think this cemented for me the gut feeling that I've seen broadcast about this team a little bit weirdly fragile, bit vulnerable, really, a bit.
Yeah, mentally, I think so. It's important to kind of take the context with City as well, right? That a lot of this team, they lost a lot of Premier League appearances in the summer in terms of players leaving and players who'd gone and won things. They lost a lot of muscle memory in terms of getting over the line and winning trophies, right? A lot of these players in this squad now haven't necessarily been there and won it with Manchester City before. What I thought was interesting was just how prone to collapse they looked in that second half. And I think that if Fulham had got an equaliser, it would have been bedlam, and it would have been one of those games that you're like, that's one of the weirder things, and stuff happens, right? Like, as the Premier League, we know that these things can happen. But I think you would have looked at it. Pep made some very strange decisions. And I think Stephen McInerney, who runs a brilliant City channel called Esteemed Company, said it best in the title of his video after this game. He said, City's just an incredibly unserious side. And whilst that's loads of fun, as a neutral, as an opposition, to throw away lead against Leeds, I know they would end up winning both of these games, had very nearly throw away a lead against Fulham when you're 5-1 up. That's not really the old title challenger stuff. I don't think. And so when Nico Gonzalez went off and he was replaced by John Stones, the entire team fell apart. And that's a concern. I mean, look, it speaks to how Nico has grown into his role, I think, and how important he has been to this team. I think that they look relatively weak at fullback still. We haven't seen loads of Ryan Aït-Nouri. This wasn't Nico O'Reilly's best game, although he has done admirably in that position.
Happy to criticise him now he's made his England bow.
Yeah. I was hopeful with a surname like that he might turn out to be on the side of the light, but it turns out he wasn't. But
the way Jack turns on people.
Yeah, it's the usual. You should have heard me at the FSAs on Monday when Declan Rice walked on stage. But the kind of element of this, can they? The thing with City, I think, is that right now, I don't think City are title challengers. However, if they end December, go into January, and they're 5 points behind, Dean and I spoke about this on Ranks this week. He thinks they'll spend. I think they'll go for it. So if they're in touching distance, they might accelerate plans that they might have had for the summer in order to actually strengthen this team and say, you know what? An unbelievable back half of the season, and we could end up winning a title that we probably didn't think we were actually necessarily in the conversation for this season. And that, I think, maybe changes things. We talked about it a little bit when we talked about relegation candidates. Like, does it change things if Leeds bring in a number 9 who can score goals in January? I think you'd say something similar with City. If they can stay in touching distance and then they strengthen this squad, maybe that they come back into it, because with Pep, you never know. But I think as they stand right now, I'm watching Matheus Nunes get cooked over and over and over again at right back yesterday. I don't know if that's sustainable. I think a genuinely excellent side, and Fulham are very much not that, would have punished City defensively yesterday.
Yeah, you've got two second halves in consecutive games here. The second half against Leeds, dreadful. Second half against Fulham, worse than dreadful. Against admittedly not top tier opponents. This really bothers me when it's time to talk about Manchester City and genuine title credentials. Does it bother you too?
Absolutely, because prior to this sort of weird run, they'd had that week where they beat Bournemouth, Dortmund and Liverpool, and everyone thought, oh, maybe Man City are quote unquote back. But I think Bournemouth's recent form, Liverpool still not getting it going this season, Dortmund have got great results this year, but they're definitely not an easy side to watch at different points as well. And then their performances in the last 2 league games, very, very troubling indeed. It doesn't feel like, and it's a very obvious point to make, but just the quality and experience they've lost. If you look at that squad from the 2023 Champions League final, so just over 2 years ago, the amount of starting players that left in that starting 11, so Ederson, Akanji, Grealish, Gundogan, De Bruyne, all left. On the bench, it's been absolutely ripped apart. So Carson, Ortega, Walker, Laporte, Sergio Gomez, all left. Perrone, Cole Palmer, Julian Alvarez and Riyad Mahrez all left. That is so much talent gone. And
when you buy 14 players in a year, you are going to have to, jettison a few, I guess.
Exactly. And I suppose there is an element of, could they get better? I think they could absolutely get better this season. There's still a number of players to bed in. Cherky's still finding his feet. He's been injured. I think he's been pretty impressive when he's played. Yep. I think Reinders is probably still getting up to used to the Premier League as well, but a brilliant finish last night before obviously drifting in that game slightly. Rodri has only been fit to start 4 league games. Will he be back to Rodri levels by the end of the season? Probably not, but you never know.
It's hard to say with him, isn't it? Because coming back from a long-term injury is tough. He's had a load of small injuries that follow on, which is pretty normal. But how long generally do you need to wait for a player to regain top form after an ACL tear? For the most part, unfortunately, it takes a while. Now, the pressure's not on him because Nico Gonzalez is one of the few bright spots of the season so far. I thought he had a tremendous first 5 games of the season, roughly. Then he sloped off a little bit, and now he started to bring it back. I love the fact that Pep has actually explained why he fell out of the team at the end of last season. He said he moves around too much. What? So I don't like defensive midfielders that move. You need to move less. Imagine that. Nico, stop running. Stand still. Then you can be back in the team. It's what he's done, and it works for the team. Haaland's obviously been amazing. Lots of goals. Too many goals, really, in terms of a percentage, but it is what it is. Jeremy Doku has basically gone Super Saiyan, added 4 elements to his game, and it looks really, really scary. The City are defensively questionable, mentally fragile, inexperienced, and on the ball going through a full redress, a complete tactical rejig in terms of how they're actually playing. They're keeping the ball really deep and trying to bait the press and then try to play intricately around the press and go and open that space for Erling Haaland and open the space for Ryan Shirky to play a through ball to Erling Haaland. And it's like, great, but that's like really dangerous stuff. And they can no longer hold on to the ball as a defence mechanism. 34% possession second half against Fulham. I mean, I'm not sure they were trying to actually hang on to the ball as a defence mechanism. Mostly because I think they know now that they actually can't do it. This team is borderline unrecognisable at points. And the game before that, Leeds second half, outshot 7-4 at home against Leeds.
Yeah.
What on earth?
I know.
So everything we've talked about here, ringing a lot of alarm bells for me. And I also saw a really good set of graphs on social media earlier. They're going to be, well, if the season finished today, it'd be the first time since 2017-18 that they did not set the possession mark for highest average possession in the league. So they're not top, and they wouldn't be. Field tilt, they're way down. Counter-pressing intensity, way down. Pressing, an all-time low under Pep Guardiola. Add this to the fact that they're in the middle of this on the ball transition. Like I've got an astonishing lack of faith in a team that is still on paper very, very talented and has arguably the world's best striker. I don't think City are title challengers. I don't think they're legit. I don't think I can say they are. I've just reeled off too many problems.
I think they might be title challengers in that they could finish second, but are they just there? Does that make you a title challenger if you're just Arsenal's closest team? Because I think there's a very decent chance that they do finish second, because I do think a lot of their players will get better as the season suggests.
So the reframing of the question is like, can they keep up with Arsenal?
Can they finish within 10 points of them? I'd be very surprised. Like at the moment, they're conceding 1.2 XG against per game. Arsenal are at 0.7. That just across an entire season will just make a massive difference. Like as it stands, Arsenal are on track to concede the third fewest goals in Premier League history, behind Arsenal of the late 90s and obviously that amazing Jose Mourinho Chelsea side as well. And I do think there is an element of Arsenal still have so much more to give in an attacking sense as well, whereas Foden and Haaland seem like they're at their absolute pinnacle.
Yeah.
And I do think
Doku is maxed out too.
Doku's maxed out as well, but I don't know whether he's necessarily going to be a numbers guy even right now. His dribbles, his chances created have gone through the roof, etc. But I don't know whether...
But Doku's passing is so improved. Like he's threading balls. This is not Doku.
You can also see that he's just getting told to shoot in much better areas and not go take it to the byline as much as well. He's becoming a much more intelligent player.
He's playing much more centrally as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I do think that Arsenal with Saka, who hasn't necessarily played his best form so far this season, Havertz hasn't really played at all, Odegaard's been in and out, Madueke been in and out as well. Arsenal have new gears to go to in an attacking sense. There's probably a likelihood that at some stage this season Erling Haaland misses some games. You know, across the last, I think it's 5 years now, he's missed at least 5 games in the last 6 seasons. 4 times he's missed over 10. Look, it's amazing what he's doing right now, and he's getting better and better, and the rest of his game is really underrated as well now. He's can thread players through, he's hold up players so much better. The way he strikes the balls just never look cleaner. But it's probably not sustainable across an entire season that he continues at this scoring rate. And if that happens, and this defence is still like this, I've got major, major concerns.
What evidence do you have that he can't sustain this goal-scoring form? I think we've got about 4 campaigns worth of evidence that he can.
I still think his goal scoring is almost... I mean, he's on track to score over, I think it's 55, 60 goals, which is crazy. In his first year at Man City, in a much better side, he hit 50, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it could happen.
Yeah.
I just would be surprised if he hit 55 goals in this City side. And there's a couple of players that I think have really lost form, and I think it's mainly just due to overplaying. I saw the other day that Bernardo Silva's played something like 40 games a season for the last 12 years. He is now not Bernardo Silva of even 2-3 years ago, let alone 5-6. And it is quite sad to see. No. I think Ruben Dias has been strangely off it so far this season as well, making far too many mistakes. And it doesn't look like their backline's communicating very well. And maybe Aït-Nouri coming back will help with defensively. But as I say that sentence, it already feels weird in my head. I've got major concerns. Kusanov at right back is probably the idea to get an instant upturn. And they are also being strongly linked to our friend from last week's podcast, Elliot Anderson.
Of course, yeah, that would make some sense, I guess.
Going to cost some moolah as well.
I mean, I feel like their plan is to get Kusanov going at right back, but every time they try and do it, he gets injured. So it's like one of those things that it's definitely on their minds, but it keeps going wrong. So I guess we'll have to see. But look, I'm going to ask I'm going to demand from all three of us a definitive answer. Are City capable of going the distance with Arsenal and genuinely beating them to the title? Doogie?
No.
Jack?
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
No.
I think so.
No.
I think it involves. It doesn't. It maybe not this iteration of City, but I think that they will strengthen if they're within 5 points. And if they do that, and they bring in an upgrade at right back, and they bring in someone like an Elliot Anderson, we know that City have the capability to go through those charges. At the moment, and we discussed this on Fulham earlier, it feels a bit like Pep's, like because he's like completed football. It feels a bit like he's just like, harebrained scheme shall I come up with next to see what we can do with this team? He's like trying to just like entertain himself as much as anything else.
He's a fierce competitor.
But no, I don't doubt that at all. But like, it almost feels like he's coming up with ways to entertain himself. I think that City do have the capability, but I think that it would involve them staying in touch, and even if that's a bit dicey at the moment, as it has been against Leeds and Fulham,
like
even
they're
if that's
still doing it, though. They are picking up the points.
They are picking up the points. If they end up in a position where they are in touching distance in January and they go for it in the transfer market, I still think that they are serious contenders and would be able to push. If they don't do that, and we see a fall off and some of these mistakes start to get to them in the next couple of games, and actually we see them kind of trail in terms of the way that they've been going, where performances haven't been great, but they're picking up, the points they need. If the gap's too big and then they're like, leave this season, just let players integrate, I don't think they make it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going with no.
I'm quite strong on that.
Yeah. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Not feeling it.
Go.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
At Capella University, we believe accessible education can make a difference. That's why we offer scholarship opportunities to all eligible students. Un futuro diferente está más cerca de lo que crees con Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW, let us surprise you.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow. And the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, and not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods, and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get 20% off your first order when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/podcastnews. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/podcastnews.
Right, let's move on to Chelsea.
The Chelsea.
Chelsea. I'm prepare yourselves. I'm going to say a series of very nice things about Chelsea.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like very, very nice things. And I've been pretty down on them for a while, most of last season, into this season actually as well. Yeah, 18 months. 18 months of me being quite down on Chelsea. Not a big believer in them last year. They did buck up towards the end of the season. And obviously they start this summer with losing Levi Colwill to an ACL tear, which is desperately unfortunate / a complete product of the calendar. And that really, again, I was thinking there's just no way. But last thing I thought I'd be ever doing really is sat here and praising Enzo Maresca's Chelsea for genuine, like, steely resilience, just a never say die attitude and an unwillingness to accept that things are going to go against them. And look at them, like, every week they just find ways to overcome all these hurdles. And it's obviously a hugely positive trait. They've overcome, we talked about it in the luck index episode, some bad luck, really. You know, they've lost Cole Palmer for most of the campaign so far. They've ended a game against Liverpool with like 6 centre-backs injured. They played against Forest without their entire first-choice midfield, still won. They've also overcome a lot of their own problems and mistakes, because that red card against Arsenal was their 6th red card of the season in all competitions, which is frankly ridiculous. Like, to have 6 red cards in an entire campaign is bad. To have them all by the start of December is quite embarrassing. But they generally haven't cost them those red cards. Brighton, they lost, fine. But usually they eke out a result one way or the other, even though they've received a red card.
They probably could have expected to maybe beat Man United at Old Trafford in that moment that Man United were in. And then it went down to 10 each.
Yeah,
so,
but they'd lost Rob Sanchez early, like the goalkeeper. But that was their own fault. The rain is the rain.
The rain is the rain.
The rain is the rain.
Especially that Manchester rain.
Yeah, I mean, look, Maresca's doing an amazing job. I like, agree. And I think he's a very grumpy guy who I struggle to warm to. But when I saw him pelting it down the touchline to celebrate Esteval's winner against Liverpool, and he ended up getting suspended for the next game because he was in a dog pile. This is brilliant. And I feel like Maresca is more emotionally invested in this Chelsea team than he ever thought he actually would be. You know, as the kind of caretaker of the group, a very young set of players. It's quite cool to watch. And there are several players in this team that I think most of the footballing world are not paying attention to enough in terms of realising how good they've been this campaign. Because storylines over Cole Palmer, cool. Esteval is not flying under the radar. But someone like Enzo Fernandez, who you tweeted about last week, is having a brilliant campaign. And I swear, like I always say with Caicedo, people aren't necessarily realising how good he's been.
Yeah, I think it's a thing with £100 million signings. You've got to go above and beyond for people's expectations to change about you. And he joined in that January where they eventually finished 12th and they had a really miserable end of the season. And he'd actually only played 6 months at Benfica, which people didn't even realise or didn't take into account enough. He was very, very raw. He'd had an amazing World Cup, used mainly off the bench for the first few games, and then became a starter, ends up as Young Player of the Year. But his impact at Chelsea was a little bit of a slow burn, and I think it took people quite a while to give full credit to Moises Caicedo. And I still don't think people have realised how good he's been since the start of last season, really. His goals and assists are there, his box crashing's there. He maybe doesn't have the eye-catchingness, if that's even a phrase, of a Moises Caicedo, because he's not particularly physically impressive, as in he's not rapid. He's very combative, and he's definitely very good at engaging with the crowd. But it's not a game that is as eye-catching as a Declan Rice or a Moises Caicedo, for example.
He's scoring a lot of goals. Does that not do it for you?
Absolutely, it does it for me. But I just think in the wider public, people haven't given him enough credit. And he does feel like almost like the grit of this side in many ways.
Very gritty guy. Has always been that really gritty presence.
I've got a question. If everyone is fully fit, does Enzo Fernandez start?
Oh, not this question again.
Because I think that part of what has been very good this season is that he's been played in that number 10 role more often than not. He's moved forward and he's been able to, create with a barrier behind him. If Cole Palmer comes back in and is fit and wants to play in the 10, Cole Palmer plays in the 10. He's Chelsea's best player. So therefore, is there a space for Enzo Fernandez in that regard?
It's dicey stuff, and it's not just an issue that's linked to this season and the rise of Esteval. It's also an issue that's linked even back to last season and the season before, because we've talked about it, I think, probably with the Caicedo episode, where the very latter stages of Pochettino, he kind of ended up like Fernandes got pubalgia and had to step out of the team, and he paired Caicedo with Conor Gallagher, and it was great, and they won like 6 games in a row, and it was like, crap, is Enzo Fernandez is he in Chelsea's best team? And we were asking that question, and the answer is either yes or no. It's not a criticism of him, but like, look at how they're playing without him. They're pretty good. Is he in their best team? That question was being asked end of Poch, then again through the start of Maresca, and now it's even busier. And if, let's say, for example, that Palmer does step back into that role and everyone's fit. Imagine if Romeo Lavia was fit, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately for him, you don't
he'll
have
never
to
be
think
fit.
about
Imagine,
that.
He'll know, imagine
sure
is
he's
the
imagining
operative word. It is interesting, and there's another separate debate on the side going, which is like, look how well Enzo Fernandez is playing, and yet there's a lot of people that would argue he's still not even being technically used in his best role, which would be more of a distributor, because he's got such a passing range to him as well, which he doesn't really get to show when he's busting into the box and getting on the end of crosses, which he's also better at than most people in the game. He's actually incredible at timing runs into the box and getting on the end of stuff like a number 9 would. So this question hasn't really gone away over the last 2 years. What's avoided the question entirely, really, or avoided the issue, is they've always had enough injuries for it not to matter, because they just don't have enough players to have a luxury of choice.
Well, in the same way that Arsenal a few years ago felt that if they didn't have Saka, and a couple of years ago Odegaard, and maybe a couple of their centre-backs, it felt like a disaster. It was the same case with Chelsea. If they didn't have Cole Palmer, if they didn't have Moises Caicedo, they'd be in real trouble. And Chelsea do have a favourable run of fixtures during this Moises Caicedo suspension. But the fact that Reece James is now fully fit, and looking back to Thomas Tuchel, Reece James, I know he's playing in midfield, or did at the weekend, he was phenomenal.
Mate.
For 10 men, he completely dominated a game against the best side in the country, we're all saying.
He was just incredible. Like, again, I'm not necessarily sure, until maybe at the weekend, I'm not sure people realise just how well he's playing and how many games he's played as well.
Yeah.
He's basically played a part in every game that Chelsea have had this season across Premier League and Champions League play, which is a remarkable feat in itself, because usually when he's playing well, he gets injured. So they've done their research big time on how to manage his body. God, I hope he doesn't get injured in the next couple of weeks now. But like, every time I start to get excited about Reece James and an England campaign, he gets injured. He's missed the last 2 major tournaments with an injury, so it's dicey stuff. But wow, like, what a player! Now he's fully flying again, and kind of like him and Gusto swapping between right back and centre mid into the back line, back out again. Gusto, who, like, he's had his moments. He's had his moments this season where he's looked like a bit of a clown. But like, I didn't want to say it, but he's playing a really difficult tactical role where, like, off the ball, when Chelsea are trying to push or go man to man, but kind of go halfway, Gusto's always the guy that has to reinterpret who he's marking, or push forward, or come back, or cover the space, or because when Reece James pushes up into midfield and marks another player, what's happening at the weekend, Reece James is pushing onto Declan Rice. Gusto has to pick between 3 markers, and he always has to get it right. Sometimes he gets it wrong because it's really hard, and he ends up looking silly. He ends up looking like he's out of position. But he basically plays right back, centre mid, and right wing at the same time, and does all this really complex stuff off the ball. I've gained a lot of respect for Malo Gusto this season, despite the fact that he's had some really boneheaded moments. So to have a player that can perform that tactical role is really, really impressive. Again, credit to Maresca. He's done a really good job with that. Joao Pedro has been amazing.
Yeah.
Not
necessarily in terms of goal scoring,
but he's just really good. Just got a wince from Jack.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by that. I think that Joao Pedro had an excellent start to the season. I think that there have been times where he's been played out of position. I don't think he's a great number 9, and I don't think he's often been utilised in his best position. So there are mitigating circumstances. But speaking to a lot of Chelsea fans, a lot of my best friends are Chelsea fans, they're not completely convinced by Joao Pedro as a one, a signing, and 2, that he is the guy that's going to kind of lead the club forward. I would probably posit that in Chelsea's best 11, Joao Pedro doesn't start.
Jeez, I think he's definitely. I mean, who's their number 9 in their best 11?
I think it has to be Delap
because he's not. He's no.
Because I think the entire operation. The answer might be Pedro Neto. If I'm honest,
I understand what
and they go next year.
The tactical conundrum that it poses with him wanting to drop off and then crunch the space with the 10. But he's so silky. And even against Arsenal as well, he had his moments where he was just like in that intense environment, just linking play so sweetly.
I want him to shoot a bit.
I do want him to score more goals, and I do want him to take more shots. But I'm a sucker for João Pedro, as you can clearly tell. I think his on the ball ability and his awareness it is Roberto Firmino style brilliance. If not there yet.
You've also got to give the squad credit for the way they've adapted to the fact that Cole Palmer, he was on the bench against Arsenal, but hasn't played since the 20th of September. That would floor them in previous seasons. You look at the fact that someone like Wesley Fofana's only just come back from injury, and I think he's started really, really effectively as well. That dream partnership with Levi Colwill, I think that has the makings if Wesley Fofana can stay fit, and he hasn't really since Leicester. That could be a really nice duo. I didn't think Marc Cucurella actually had his best game at the weekend, but he was playing against Bukayo Saka, but he now dominates pretty much any forward he comes up against. Like, there's key ingredients here that even if they don't win the league this year, you add a Quenda in here, you add an Emega to be third choice, compete with Delap and João Pedro. I'm sure they'll spend in other areas as well. Robert Sanchez hasn't cost the side too much so far this season either.
What a thing to say about a goalkeeper.
Robert Sanchez has been absolutely brilliant. Like, as in, he's had moments. He's had one boneheaded moment, like a real one against Manchester United, right? That was bad. But like, as in, from a keeper, we were talking about Robert Sanchez as being like potentially the weak link in the Chelsea team. Now, you could maybe point to the centre backs and the depth behind the kind of preferred two, if you will. But we were talking about him as the weak link. They spent a bit of time in the summer chasing Mike Maignan, who we all know is absolutely unbelievable. Sanchez has given a real element of calm to Chelsea this year. His ability to claim balls in the air has been astounding.
He's so good at the weekend.
And he's been like that for most of this season. It feels like his distribution has got better. It's almost like as soon as Maresca was like, you don't have to play it short every time, and he has the ability to go long, suddenly he's picking out passes. You're like, I didn't know you had that in your locker anymore.
Allowed to. Maresca threatened to drop him if he kicked it more than 10 yards.
So effectively what he's done is gone, right, okay, you're going to need to play your game. I think Sanchez, you're talking about players who are underrated in this Chelsea side. I think Robert Sanchez has been, maybe the story of their season that has gone under the radar. I think he's been absolutely brilliant.
So, over the process of the last, 10 minutes, we have praised 3/4 of this team. So, seems like a simple answer, but like, can they challenge Arsenal this season?
I think they can get within 10.
Okay.
Is that a challenge? I'm not sure. I think actually, weirdly, the eye test, I'm really enjoying watching Chelsea this year. I think similar to what you were saying earlier, compared to previous years. But actually, their underlying numbers haven't taken a massive leap. So their expected goal difference per 90, so the quality of chance they create versus concede, has gone from 0.5 to 0.6. Arsenal's is double that. So there's not been a huge leap statistically that makes me think, they can rival and then top Arsenal. But the way they've played in the last week, and it has been actually across the last 7 games, I think only Villa and Arsenal with one more point have taken more points than them. They have shown that they have the makings of a title-winning side. I just think this season is probably one too early for them.
Jack?
Yeah, I'd concur with a lot of that. Like, I think they can get close. I think that Chelsea might finish second. I don't know if they have they've got more mature as the season's gone on. And actually, there's a brilliant piece in The Athletic from Michael Cox about how the performance against Arsenal was the most Chelsea that Chelsea have looked in ages, and about like when the team, it feels like the fan base connected to this team again, and they weren't for a long period of time where it felt like the bridge could turn at any moment. It doesn't feel like that anymore. I think what's really interesting is seeing them develop and mature. I think that they will be there. I don't necessarily think that they will win it this season, but I think that they are in the conversation. They should be talked about as title challengers. I just think it might end up being next season where we see Chelsea really start to steal a march once they add a few more bits and bobs in terms of the players that we know are already coming in. You talked about Omega there, but there's a couple more as well. Kenda is a very, very talented footballer. And look, whilst it's a crowded field, shall we say, to try and get into those areas, there's a few more coming in as well. You look at someone like Sarah, who went back to Strasbourg on loan this season after being bought by Chelsea in the summer. I think he's a really good footballer and someone that could, potentially come in and maybe make a thing. Anselmino's been brilliant at Borussia Dortmund. Whether he comes back in or not, I suppose, is up for debate. But there are still, I think, a couple of weaknesses. I'm still not completely convinced by the centre-backs, and whilst I thought the Chalobah was brilliant at the weekend, I still have question marks. I don't think Tosin Adarabioyo is good enough. I didn't think he was good enough when he moved to Chelsea. I think he was very much a Fulham-level player that decided to make the leap, into a Champions League team.
He's a handy guy to have in a squad.
Yeah, I think also as someone in the... Yeah, it was a free. Someone in the dressing room, I think he's useful, but I think he has too many mistakes in his locker. My pre-season prediction on Chelsea was that I thought that they'd get loads of points off the big guns in the league, but they would slip up in like silly games. And I think we've seen a little bit of that play out already across this season. So I think that will probably be their downfall, but as they continue to mature, I really do think that we're not far off from where Chelsea will want to be now.
So I've got one big reason as to why they can't last the distance to add into the mix that has barely been spoken about so far, and it's just the surely natural drop-off physically that happens after playing 2 years of football. And if the medical professionals are telling me that the Club World Cup is going to doom them at some point, and no one really knows when, but like they'll just physically fall off a cliff at some point, you can't even take 3 games out here. You can't take a month. You can't have a bad month here. You'll just get, because they're already 6 points back. But yeah, so that I think will probably be the end of them. At the inevitable crash from the Club World Cup, from the 24 months of non-stop football that Chelsea have had to play.
The other thing with that is that Chelsea can't do what they did last year in the Conference League and just play the B team in the Champions League. And whilst I think Maresca has done actually quite well with most of his rotations, I've had criticisms of what he did at Qarabag. I thought that was wild. But generally, I think his rotations have worked for the most part. Like, it is going to come to the point where if they do qualify and they're into the knockout stages of the Champions League, what's going to take the priority there? Because Chelsea feel like a team that could beat anyone on their day.
Yeah.
There is a chance that Chelsea go and win the Champions League. But like, you kind of look at it and say, well, where does the priority lie? Because are they more suited to cup competition right now at this point as opposed to where they are in the league? I think that will also start to come into play at some point.
Yeah, I think it will. And like the rotations for the Qarabag game, they feel weird, but he is presumably working off physical data that we don't have. And like, I'm sure you've noticed, but every time Caicedo returns from international duty, he's on the bench. And they brought him on for 45 minutes against Forest because they had to, and then they just left him out the next time around because they were okay. Very obviously working off physical data here to just try and get through the campaign and protect the players as best they can that we don't have access to. So I'm trying not to criticise Maresca too much on those movements because I just assume they're absolutely necessary. And if he's having to do that now, this is a signal that he's going to have to do this all the way through the season and he's going to have to take care of these players, which I think is a big negative here when you're asking, can they keep up with Arsenal?
Well, exactly. I think rotation's absolutely massive. I mean, the way that Pep talked about his rotated side that he played against Bayer Leverkusen, which, by the way, was a Bayer Leverkusen side which had Tapsoba suspended,
6 different
and
players
Andrich
out.
suspended, and like their best centre-back and their best midfielder.
There were like 5 players in that team who had played like less than 400 minutes in the league that season. That was a fully rotated Leverkusen
For
side
sure.
with Grimaldo leading them out.
For sure. And the way he talked about that side lacking confidence, as in his fringe players lacking confidence, and you feel like Chelsea's backup 11 lacks a bit of experience in many ways. And then you look at Arsenal's backup 11 and the quality of players that they haven't even really been able to play so far this season, whether that's Christian Norgard, who I think will adapt really nicely to this Arsenal team, or Mars Lewis-Skelly. Mikel Merino's soon going to be their third choice striker. Kai Havertz or Gyökeres, one of them's probably going to be on the bench. Like this is a super squad full of like physical animals that didn't play a summer tournament as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
At Capella University, we believe accessible education can make a difference. That's why we offer scholarship opportunities to all eligible students. Un futuro diferente está más cerca de lo que crees con Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices. We'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow, and the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, a back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, and not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose except those sleepless nights. Get 20% off your first order when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/podcastnews. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/podcastnews.
Right, well, those are the two that are closest in the table.
You want to get someone else?
Apart from, there's someone else. Well, we don't know what happens to these two teams because it's Wednesday and they're playing each other in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So Villa and Brighton, and I think we're going to genuinely put them in the title conversation. You referenced the XGD table earlier, expected goals differential. That's got us getting relegated, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But there is another club that we should probably mention because they were by far the most picked team to win the title before a ball was kicked.
Including by me.
It was the reigning champions who spent £450 million in the summer on Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, and Giovanni Leone. When you do that, you create expectations. When you win the first 5 games, lucky or not, you create expectations. But Liverpool has mostly been miserable for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And while they have picked up a few wins here and there, they're 10 points off the pace. Can you see them climbing and bridging that gap?
Look, we're recording this before they play Sunderland at Anfield.
Oh, this must make you feel very
Which
nervous.
is difficult. Maybe they've won comfortably against Sunderland. I did think against West Ham there were signs that they were starting to, like Szoboszlai playing on the right-hand side, Joe Gomez at right back. That felt like a much more unified.
Well, Arne Slot, to be fair, has come out and said, Szoboszlai right wing, not the answer. He's been so clear. Immediately, everyone's like, oh, maybe. And he's like, nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, that's been ruled out. But what is worth noting is that Sunderland won at Stamford Bridge and they took points off Arsenal. So it's not an easy game playing Sunderland whatsoever. Let's see what happens there. I struggle to imagine Liverpool winning the league, if I'm totally honest. I struggle to imagine them getting into title contention. It does feel like I think most of their fans have probably accepted that this is a year to get into the Champions League. There's been so much change at the club. And actually, I was looking into it. The biggest summer outlays has rarely led to immediate success. PSG, the following year, they won the treble. Chelsea, for all their outlays, haven't really won anything of massive significance, fair to say. Real Madrid in 2019, I think they won the league, but it took a while they didn't win the Champions League that year. It does normally take a while for the new pieces to sort of mould together.
And
I think
retaining the
this
title is hard as well. Yeah,
it's very hard.
City warped the conversation on that by retaining and retaining and retaining. They were a special beast. For the most part in the Premier League, retaining the title has been quite difficult, and Liverpool are showing us here why. Because it energises several other teams to go, hang on a minute, I want that back, or I want a piece of that.
I'd be surprised if they didn't finish in the top 5, which will likely secure Champions League football.
Okay, so they're also a no.
They're a no for me.
Jack?
Too far back, I'm afraid, already. And I think it will click, but I think that it's going to take time. I think that we are at a point. It's interesting, the last 2 times that Liverpool have won a title, they've effectively changed the squad by almost naught the summer beforehand. Like, obviously, last year Arne Slot came in, which is a big change. But actually, in terms of players from the season before, there was players who had bedded in, who were ready. I think there's too much going on at Liverpool from both an emotional and a tactical perspective. I do expect them to get better. I'm with Doogie. I'd still expect them to finish top 4, probably, not even top 5. But I think that they are just too far back already to genuinely challenge Arsenal, I think, at this point.
So it looks like we've run through all the different candidates and we've effectively come to the conclusion that it's in the bag for Arsenal.
On the basis of
I
the
haven't said
performances
that.
so
You've
far.
said that.
Yeah, I mean, no, the 2 hosts of the podcast have said that. There's someone over there. Yeah,
the Dark Lord coming with misery.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good for you to mix it up a bit because we've run the numbers and we've given Arsenal the title.
I don't think this is done. Like, I think that Arsenal remain favourites to win the title, and that is perfectly fine and like correct. Like, they are favourites. I don't think that it's like completely done and dusted in a way that, like, I look at some other leagues and I'm like, yeah, that's done. Like, Bayern have won the title in Germany. Like, it's just done and dusted. I don't think we're quite there with that. I think there will come a patch where Arsenal end up, you know, having a couple of difficult results and people are like, oh, what's going on? I still think they're likely to win it. But I don't think it's finished in a way that perhaps you seem to.
Well, I just don't have any faith in any of the clubs we've talked about to actually go 38 games and outlast them, I guess. And that's less about Arsenal and more about the flaws of everybody else. I was hoping maybe that we could have a conversation, Dugan. You might be able to convince me that there's more to like about Man City than I can see, or that don't worry about the Chelsea's fatigue levels. It's all a myth. Cole Palmer's going to swan back in. He's nicely rested, but all the points raised are fair. And yeah,
I struggle with both of them across 38 games getting within 6 points of Arsenal. I think I said 10 earlier. That felt maybe a little bit dramatic, but on the basis of performances so far, I do think Arsenal have been by far the best side.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is only, what are we, the 3rd of December, and we don't know their result tonight.
We don't. No, we don't. Okay.
Risky.
Well, congratulations, Arsenal. Premier League 2025-26 champions. If they don't win it, the podcast will close down.
Did you hear my stomach reacting?
Yeah.
Just nerves.
There's so many nerves. The podcast will shut down if Arsenal don't win the title because we'll be officially discredited.
It'll just be me.
Morgoth by himself.
Just you doing like mic checks to no one.
Just me just sat in front of that truth sign, just sitting there being like, I'm going to spout now.
We also need to flip this round at some stage because the amount of people that comment on my YouTube videos, where is Jack? Like, can we get him in the video?
He's locked in the cabinet. We don't let him out.
We'll see. Maybe we'll start producer cam.
He's the dark one. So we've sealed him into the ball, and his voice escapes through the tiny little holes. But
miserable.
Trust me, if we let him out,
anti-Arsenal takes.
It's the end of the universe as you know it. Trust me.
It's not worth it.
Let's wrap it up. We've got to watch some Premier League football.
We do. Got to win at Anfield, Sam. That's what we're going to do.
Got to win at the Amex.
Big test for both of us.
We're going to win at the Amex. I guess we'll see. Anyway, Doogie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Sam.
Jack, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Sam Doogie.
Lovely stuff. All right, thanks for listening as well, guys. We'll see you same time next week.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
At Capella University, we believe accessible education can make a difference. That's why we offer scholarship opportunities to all eligible students. Un futuro diferente está más cerca de lo que crees con Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow. And the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, and not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods, and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get 20% off your first order when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/podcastnews. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/podcastnews.
DC politicians want to enact harmful credit card mandates that could take away your cash back and rewards points. Perks that stretch your budget and make life a little easier. Losing these benefits means less money for your family's everyday essentials like gas and groceries. The perks you rely on could disappear, leaving you with higher costs and fewer options. Tell Congress to guard your card and oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandates.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.